Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 19, Text 2. The transcendental fight is happening between Lord Varahadev and Hiranyaksha. Tatas sapatnam mukhatas charantam akuto bhayam jaghanotpatya gadaya hanap asuram akshajaha. The Lord, who had appeared from the nostril of Brahma, sprang and aimed his mace at the chin of his enemy, the Hiranyaksha demon, who was stalking fearlessly before him. So, because Lord Brahma told him, now, my dear Lord, don't waste any more time, just kill him immediately. So, Sahata Dena Gadaya Vihata Bhagvat Karat Vighur Nitapatadreje Tad Adbhutam Iva Bhavat. Struck by the demon's mace, however, the Lord's mace slipped from his hand and looked splendid as it fell down whirling. This was miraculous, for the mace was blazing wonderfully. So the Lord Varahadev's mace is shining transcendently. Satada labda tirthopi na babhade nirayudham manayan samridhe dharmam vishva vishvakshenam prakopayan. Even though the demon had an excellent opportunity to strike his unarmed foe without obstruction, he respected the law of single combat, thereby kindling the fury of the Supreme Lord. So even the demons, they follow the rules of the fighting. Now, because the Lord's mace has fallen down, Hiranyaksha, he could have hit the Lord. He could have, but he said, no, the rules of fighting, I cannot hit him with the mace now. So that's making the Lord even more angry. So, Gadayam apavidhayam hahakare Vinirgate manayam astad dharmam sunabham chasmarad vibhuhu. As the Lord's mace fell to the ground, and a cry of alarm rose from the witnessing crowd of gods and rishis, the personality of God had acknowledged the demon's love of righteousness and therefore invoked his Sudarshan discus. So, of course, everyone got, oh my God, what's going to happen? The Lord Varadev's mace has fallen down. What's going to happen? And so then Lord Varadev called for his Sudarshan Chakra. Tam Vyagra Chakram Diti Putra Dhammena Swaparshada Mukhena Vishajamanam Chitravacho Tat Vidam Ke Charanam Tatra Samasan Swastite Mam Jahite. As the discus began to revolve in the Lord's hands, and the Lord contended at close quarters with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendants, who had been born as Hiranyaksha, a wild son of Diti, there issued from every direction strange expressions uttered by those who were witnessing from airplanes. They had no knowledge of the Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend you! Pray dispatch him! Play no more with him!" So the demigods, they are in their private jets, in their private aeroplanes hovering around. And they don't understand that this is the supreme personality of Godhead. And so they're getting nervous and anxious, Is the demon really going to be killed right now or no? So that they can again get their positions back, because they had fled from their kingdoms and they didn't have a place to go. So they really wanted Hiranyaksha to die immediately. Satam nisham yata rathangam agar agrato vyavasthitam padma pala shalochanam vilokya chamarsha pariplutendriyo rushasvadanta chadam adashashvasan. When the demon saw the personality of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, standing in position before him, armed with his Sudarshan discus, his senses were overpowered by indignation. He began to hiss like a serpent, and he bit his lip in great resentment. So the eyes, Varahadev's eyes are lotus-like petals. The Lord's body is transcendental. He's beautiful, even though he is in the body of a boar. Karala damstras chakshurbhyam shankas shano dahan iva abhiplutya swagadya hato siti ahanadharim. The demon, who had fearful tusks, stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burn him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain." So, Hiranyaksha is also getting into the mood. Padasavyena tam sadho bhagwan yagya shukkaraha leelaya mishataha shatroho praharad vataram hasam. O saintly Vidur, while his enemy looked on, the Lord, in his boar form, the enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of a tempest. So Hiranyaksha threw his mace at the Lord, but he's just very playfully with his left foot, he's just throwing it away. Aha chayudam advatsa vatsva katasva tvam jigishyasi iti ukta satadabhuya stadayan vyananda brasham. The Lord then said, "Take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me." Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more loudly roared. So we can see how the Lord is playing with him. He's saying, try again, try again. Okay, the Lord is also enjoying. Hiranyaksha is throwing the mace at him. The Lord is just throwing it away. Then again, he's saying, hit me, hit me. Tamsa apat Tatim vikshya Bhagwan samvastitaha jagraha lilaya praptam garutman eva panagim. When the Lord saw the mace flying around him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, would seize a serpent. So the flying mace, the Lord is just catching him. Swapurushe pratihate hatamano mahasuraha nechad kadam diyamanam harina vikata prabaha. His valor thus frustrated, the great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead. So Varahadev caught the mace and he's giving it back to Hiranyaksha. Okay, hit me again. But Hiranyaksha is now reluctant to take it from him. He's humiliated, he's trying his best, but nothing's happening. And here the Lord is telling him, take again and hit me again. So that's really infuriating, That's really humiliating. Jagraha trishikam shulam jwala jwalana lolupam yagnaya drita rupaya vipraya bicharanyatha. He now took a trident, which was as rapacious as a flaming fire, and hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against a holy Brahmana. So, now what is he doing? He is throwing a trident. Trident, it was going fast, like how fire, it's like a blaze of lightning. So the trident, he's throwing it so fast, it's looking like fire, and throwing it against the Lord, enjoyer of all sacrifices. So even though the Lord is in the form of Varahadev, in the form of boar, he is still Lord Vishnu, he's still Lord Krishna. So he's still the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So we can see how the incarnations of the Lord, they are all Vishnu Tattva. They are non-different from Krishna himself. So then reading on. So this is transcendental form, Lord Varahadev. Tad ojasa detya mahabhatarpitam chakasad antaka udirna didhiti chakrena cheheda nishata nemina hariryatha tarkshya patatram ujhitam. Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshan, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garud. Okay, so the context of the reference given herein regarding Garud and Indra is this. Once upon a time, Garud, the carrier of the Lord, snatched away a nectar pot from the hands of the demigods in heaven in order to liberate his mother, Vinata, from the clutches of his stepmother, Kadru, the mother of the serpents. Okay, so this is the pastime that's happening, that Garud wanted to give this nectar to his mother. Mother's name is Vinata. The mother was being caught by Kadru, the stepmother, his stepmother. So he took this nectar from the demigods. On learning of this, Indra, the king of heaven, hurled his thunderbolt against Garud. With a view to respect the infallibility of Indra's weapon, Garud, though otherwise invincible, being the Lord's own mount, dropped one of his wings, which was shattered to pieces by the thunderbolts. So Garud, Indra's weapon couldn't hurt him. He's transcendental, he's spiritual. He is the Lord's own carrier. But just to give that respect to Indra, that this is Indra's thunderbolt, and Indra's thrown it, so it cannot be wasted. It has to show its effect. He by himself dropped one of his wings. So, but then I don't know how does he get the wing back. But anyway, this is this pastime. So the inhabitants of higher planets are so sensible that even in the process of fighting, they observe the preliminary rules and regulations of gentleness. In this case, Garud wanted to show respect for Indra. Since he knew that Indra's weapon must destroy something, he offered his wing. So this is the pastime. That as a respect to offer respect to Indra, Garud offered the wing, dropped his wing. So then reading on. So we can see Lord Varahadev also has a Sudarshan Chakra. He can call the Sudarshan Chakra anytime. This is Krishna's own form, Krishna's own expansion. All the expansions of Krishna, the Vishnu Tattva, all the incarnations, they are equally powerful, but they just show as much power, as much opulence as is needed for that particular pastime. But otherwise, they are all equally powerful. So, any comments till now, what we have been reading?
I'm just wondering, Hiranyaksha, is he aware of his last birth?
He's not, because if he was, he wouldn't be able to fight so much, you know.
Okay, because right, he was Jay or one of them.
Under Yoga Maya.
Yoga Maya, okay.
Yeah, otherwise he won't be able to, like, you know, hurl the mace at the Lord.
This was all right, planned.
Yeah, all planned and under the Yoga Maya potency. So the Yoga Maya covers. He does not remember his Jai now. So, yeah.
And this fight happened at the Garbhodak ocean, right?
Above there. They are above the ocean. The earth is already somewhere in the space, in the air. In the air.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in the air. The fight is happening and the demigods are all around and they're all seeing. Demigods are all in their private jets. You know?
Right. Because Varadev already lifted the earth, right? He brought it out.
Earth he had already lifted from the Garbhodaka ocean. And the fight is happening. So we can see all the pastimes of the Lord are orchestrated by Yoga Maya potency. She arranges. The devotees, they get into the role that they are supposed to play, you know. It's all under Yoga Maya. So then that's how he's acting like a demon, being really angry, throwing mace, throwing trident, you know, like that, giving the Lord really a good fight.
Yeah, but all this is a play.
This is a play. Yeah, it's a play because the Lord wanted to fight.
Wanted to, yes. Right.
And by hearing this Lord's pastimes, we get purified. You know, he's so merciful. We hear about his pastime. We are not doing anything. It's not that we are going fighting, we are building our strength to fight or anything. No, just by hearing these pastimes, we get purified, you know. We glorify him, we get purified. And we are associating with him because he's on the absolute platform. So when the pure devotees, when they're hearing these pastimes, they are experiencing it. Vyasadeva, you know, when Vyasadeva and Sukadev Goswami, when they're speaking this Bhagavatam, they're not speaking like right now we are speaking. They are actually seeing this pastimes unfold in front of them. You know, so that's how the pure devotees, they are in the pastimes, they're seeing the pastimes of the Lord. So that's why a lot of Bhagavatam is spoken in Samadhi Bhasha, because Sukadev Goswami is in Samadhi when he's speaking the Bhagavatam. He's seeing it happen. So, reading on.
The same, I think, for Sut Goswami, right? Sutta Goswami.
Sutta Goswami heard it from Sukadev Goswami.
Heard it, but then even when he told, it seems he had a lot of knowledge, right?
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing, he knew the whole thing. Like,
oh, yes. He heard perfectly from the perfect teacher, perfect speaker of Bhagavatam.
From Sukadev Goswami.
Sukadev Goswami. So that's how his qualification. So then again, the importance of hearing in parampara. Hearing disciplic succession. Sutta Goswami heard from Sukadev Goswami. Sukadev Goswami heard from Vyasadev. Like that. Vyasadev heard from Narad, you know? Narada heard from Brahma, Brahma heard from Krishna. So we are hearing this in the parampara, in disciplic succession, from Sukadev Goswami, from Sutta Goswami. So reading on then, Vikrane Swashule Bahudharina Harehe Pratyetya Vistirnam Uro Vibhutimat Pravradharo Sahasa Kathora Mustina Nadan Prahartyan Tardhya Antardhiya Ta Suraha. The demon was enraged when his trident was cut to pieces by the discus of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced toward the Lord and, roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Srivatsa. Then he went out of sight. Srivatsa is a curl of white hair on the chest of the Lord, which is a special sign of his being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, even though the Lord is in the form of the boar, the Srivatsa mark is still there, the white hair. There's a curl of white hair on his chest. So Lord Vishnu, Lord, he always has, Lord Krishna, they have this in Vaikuntha Lok or in Golok Vrindavan. The inhabitants are exactly of the same form as the personality of Godhead, but by this Srivatsa mark on the chest of the Lord, he is distinguished from all others. So in Vaikuntha, we know that people who have gotten the Swarupya Mukti, they look same, 4 hands. They look 4 hands. But how do we recognize that they are different than Lord Vishnu? Lord Vishnu has this Srivatsa mark. Krishna has this Srivatsa mark. The Gopas look the same like him. They're dressed same like him, as opulent, because in spiritual, everything is absolute. So by this mark. Tene tam ahata shatar Bhagwan adi shukaraha nakam padam manakwapi sraja hata ivadvipaha. Hit by in this manner by the demon Ovidur, the Lord who had appeared as the first boar did not feel the least quaking in any part of his body any more than an elephant would when struck with a wreath of flowers. So Hiranyaksha hit him with all his might. He's a huge demon. His body is going up to the heavens. And so strong. But Lord Varahadev is feeling it is like showering flowers on him. As previously explained, the demon was originally a servitor of the Lord in Vaikuntha, but somehow or other, he fell as a demon. His fight with the Supreme Lord was meant for his liberation. The Lord enjoyed the striking on his transcendental body, just like a fully grown-up father fighting with his child. Sometimes a father takes pleasure in having a mock fight with his small child. And similarly, the Lord felt Hiranyaksha's striking on his body to be like flowers offered for worship. In other words, the Lord desired to fight in order to enjoy his transcendental bliss. Therefore, he enjoyed the attack. So Lord Varahadev is really enjoying. He's really having a good time. Atoru dasrijanmayam yoga mayeshwari harau yam vilokya prajastrasta menire Shilpa Shyam pashyam. The demon, however, employed many conjuring tricks against the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Yoga Maya. At the sight of this, the people were filled with alarm and thought that the dissolution of the universe was near. So the demons, many demons have these mystic powers, the yoga powers. They can suddenly make it very dark. They can make limbs fall from the sky. All these things they can do by Yoga Maya. They have all these tricks. Like we see how Putana, she changed her body to look like a beautiful gopi. She was a horrible looking, 6 miles tall and, long teeth, red, long copper hair. And huge trunks, like limbs, but how she made herself look like a gopi. All this is Yoga Maya tricks. They have it. So Hiranyaksha also has this. The fighting enjoyment of the Supreme Lord with his devotee, who had been converted into a demon, appeared severe enough to bring about the dissolution of the universe. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the wavering of his little finger appears to be great, to be a great and very dangerous movement in the eyes of the I'm sorry, very dangerous movement in the eyes of the inhabitants of the universe. So Krishna is so great. It's said that only the movement of his eyes looks like so dangerous for us. You know, just wavering of his finger appears so, like they are fighting here, Hiranyaksha and Lord Varahadev, and everyone is thinking, oh God, the whole universe is going to end now. So we have so many rings, so many fighting rings, wrestlers fighting, but it's nothing compared to the fight that's happening right now that we are hearing about. Prabhavurvaya Vaschandas Tamapam Shavam Airayan Digbyo Ne Pitur Gravanaha Shepane Prahita Iva. Fierce winds began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness, occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner, as if thrown by machine guns. So Hiranyaksha is creating this now also. He's really putting this yoga maya potency. Dayur nashta banag braugahe savidyustane yitunbihi varshadbi puya ke shasrag vin mutrasthini chaksakrit. The luminaries in outer space disappeared due to the skies being overcast with masses of clouds, which were accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky rained pus, hair, blood, stool, urine, and bones. My God, imagine if that was happening now. No wonder if people were thinking that the universe will end. Imagine blood in the form of rain. It was raining and then, or urine, oh my God. Stones and bones. Giraya pratyadrishyanta nana yuddha mucho nagaha digvash saso yatud dhanyaha sulinyo mukta murdajaha. O sinless Vidur, mountains discharged weapons of various kinds, and naked demonesses armed with tridents appeared with their hair hanging loose. So Hiranyaksha is creating this whole demoniac atmosphere because he has the power to do it. Babubir yaksha raksho bihi pati ashva ratha kunjarahe atatya yibhir utsrishta himshra vacho tiveshasaha. Cruel and savage slogans were uttered by hosts of ruffian yakshas and rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on horses, elephants, or chariots. So there were demonesses everywhere, yakshas, rakshas, shouting, crying, elephants, chariots. It's a lot happening here. So, any comments?
It was a fierce fight.
Yeah. I'm sorry, couldn't hear, Shita.
It seems scary.
Stay scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine in the sky, all these horrible.
Yeah, the blood coming, bones.
Yeah, sounds so scary. So this is how the Lord is fighting.
My goodness.
Yeah, Hiranyaksha is giving the Lord a good fight. And yet we want to imitate the Lord. Imagine. We can't do that. We just like to pretend that we can imitate him. We can't even fight like him. Right? We like to fight, but we can't fight like this. So we'll stop here for today.
Yes.
Continue reading tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for listening in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Shila Varahadeva ki jai. Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.